The following program will make you want to grow things and experience new and wonderful dreams about your plants, garden, and garden design. Listener participation is always strongly advised. Good evening and welcome to Down the Garden Path with your hosts, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live in the Toronto GTA area, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Send us an email in studio101 at gmail.com. And now, right to your hosts of Down the Garden Path, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing.
Thank you very much, Gary, and welcome everyone to Down the Garden Path, where we discuss down-to-earth tips and advice for your plants, gardens, and landscapes. We think it's important and possible to have great gardens that are low maintenance. Right? Welcome, Matthew.
Thanks, Joanne. Hi.
I'm Joanne Shaw, landscape designer and owner of Down to Earth Landscape Design for the past 10 years. It is currently a design-only business here in the east of the GTA. That's where it is. And I'm here with Matthew Dressing.
Hey, everyone. I'm Matthew Dressing. Work at a local garden center, local horticulturist, landscape designer, kind of jack of all trades.
That's right.
Horde guy. Mm-hmm. And I am here with Joanne Shaw. And each week we enjoy doing Down the Garden Path, bringing you interesting, relevant, and helpful topics to help you achieve great gardens. We learn right along with you from each other, from our research, from the guests that join us here on the show. So we welcome questions via social media, emails, or phone calls.
That's right. Yes, we can have phone calls tonight. So if anybody has any questions about their October garden, so this is our monthly segment that we're going to do, a monthly episode. Yeah, because it's more than a segment. Yeah. That we're going to do each month, and it's the last Monday of September, so we're going to talk about October in the garden this month.
That's right. Get you all ready for the upcoming month.
That's right. Although it does not seem like fall.
I was just going to say, it doesn't feel like it's going to be October anytime soon.
No.
And I think we were both out all day.
Yeah.
Working and just enjoying.
Well, kind of enjoying.
The sun. I'm ready for fall personally.
Yeah, I kind of am too. Yeah, I'm kind of ready. I'm looking at those sweaters in my closet going, okay, I'm coming, Yeah, it's been, not only it's been nice, but I think it's just been really hot.
It's just sweltering.
Yes.
Yeah, 30-something degrees with a near 40 humidex.
Yes.
It's unbearable.
Yeah. So I know the contractors are dying, like they're working. I've been delivering, that's what I've been doing is delivering popsicles. That's all I can do. I have a whole bunch of different jobs being done, which it just seems incredible that they've all kind of happening at the same time, even though they were designed all at different times. So when I do a site visit, I figure I got to bring something, and not bringing coffee I don't think is the right thing to do. So I've been delivering popsicles. So I had one crew working on Saturday. I showed up with a box of popsicles, and then at another site today I went by and for a visit. And so they
must have loved that.
Yeah, so that helps keep me popular.
Yeah, exactly. Curry favor while you get.
That's right. So lots to talk about tonight, and we really hope that you've got some questions. I know I had actually a girlfriend call me with some questions because her concern about the trees. She said, "What's going on with the trees?" And I think it's just the water, right?
Yep.
My trees, I know I've been taking my gator around.
Yeah, things are.
I think that was the best purchase I ever made.
Was the gator?
Honestly, it's the gator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started to sell a lot of them just recently. People are realizing we need to keep
maybe
watering
that's all
them.
my clients from my newsletter that I wrote that article in September and said, get a gator.
Everyone came in.
Yes, I hope so.
They didn't recognize me.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So our usual, when we're talking about segments, so what's happening, we'll talk more about October in the garden, but do you want to start off by talking about what's happening in our gardens?
Yeah. So, I mean, in my garden, my balcony garden's pretty much done. It's spent. It's just enjoying the last of the things that are out there.
You probably haven't even felt like, because last time you said you were going to turn it into fall plants, but probably haven't even felt like that.
I haven't updated anything. I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the things. And a mutual friend of ours just gave me some garlic that he's had forever. So I today actually, so I haven't planted that yet. So I'm going to try that. And interested to see if it's going to.
You're going to do it in the container?
I'm going to see if it'll overwinter in a container. And see what'll happen there. So that'll be interesting.
Yes.
And
do you have a big enough pot?
I have it's probably about 30 inches wide. Okay. It's like a big 20-gallon tree pot.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the full sun. So here's hoping. My fingers are crossed.
For sure.
Yeah. Other than that, just getting ready, raking some leaves are starting to fall at my shade garden over at Nana's and tidying up things. The tropicals are still going crazy. I posted that on Instagram, a little lush photo.
Yeah.
And just planting some things, getting things ready to prep for going to sleep. So nothing overly exciting, but
same here. I mean, I think I'm trying to keep everything watered. The gator's been helping with the trees and the soaker hoses. I've been moving them around type of thing. But even as I was leaving today, I'm like, I still think I'm not getting it, and they're not getting enough. So yeah, and all the one thing I normally love leaving I leave the blooms on my limelight hydrangeas, and I've got lots of them, and girlfriends come by and they all know to cut from the back, right, that nobody can see, and they take the blooms in as cut flowers for their homes. But I think it's the heat, like they're really browning, like in spots. I don't know if you've noticed that. So I was like, today when I was out with the water, I'm like, wait a minute, where are my beautiful, full limelight hydrangeas? Yeah. So I'm a little disappointed. I mean, the roses are loving it. They're still blooming. I've got carpet roses that are happy. Nice. And I haven't really been watering them at all. Even the ones, I mean, none of them were planted this year, but so that's interesting. So everything else is, and my wine and roses Wigelia is reblooming.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So that has been kind of cool to see. That's the burgundy shrub with the pink flowers. And normally in August, you might get a little dapple of like a little sprinkle of a few new blooms. But I would say that those plants think it's June.
Oh, they're like going full flush.
Oh, yeah, they're full flush. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're covered in buds. Yeah.
That's spectacular.
I know. Yeah, so that's been kind of neat. Yes, Katie, thank you for that question. I was, we've got a question here from Katie. Some trees are losing their leaves early. Yes. Is it because of the dryness, and is watering good this time of year? Absolutely. It's because of the dryness.
For sure. Sure. We had so wet, and then, we stopped watering, and now it's just so dry.
Yeah.
And the heat just kind of rocketed and sat really, really high. So for sure.
I think everybody thinks it rained all summer, but really, it really rained a lot until mid-July. Yeah. And then we had a couple of rainy, and I think it ended up being weekends. So we kind of felt like that.
Yes.
But they were never deep soaking rains. No. So really from mid-July to now, we haven't really had that much rain, and now we're having a heat wave. So the trees are definitely stressed, Katie and our listeners. And I think some are not even going to turn color. They're just dropping.
Some of them are just, just falling.
My Crimson King one is dropping. The pool is still open, and we keep hearing the dry leaves just fall. You know what I mean? It's normally they fall, and then they kind of dry up on the ground, but they're falling dry.
They're already dry and falling.
They're dried and falling. So, and I know my in-laws were in the Brighton area driving, and they were there 2 weeks ago, and the fall colors had just kind of started, and they said they didn't really see a change at all, except for the evergreens are all brown.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
So I think some summer drought on them because evergreens like to shed or share their stress the next season, right? So,
yeah.
Yep.
So definitely, Katie, now is a good time to water. Good deep watering. That, if you think about it, that's all the water we give them now. From now until the ground freezing is what those trees will get to kind of stay hydrated all winter, right? With the winter winds and snow, and if we especially lately, we haven't been getting a lot of snow coverage for them. So definitely, especially if you have anything newly planted, especially you can water right up until like November, till we have to put shut the water off on the hose. I definitely advise that. But our city trees, everything, definitely go ahead and water.
For sure.
Yeah, thank you for that question.
Yeah, and as we see trees losing their leaves prematurely, as long as they're losing their leaves, right, that's a good sign. A tree, as it dies, it's the closing of the petiole, the phloem and the xylem into the leaf, and as the tree pinches that close, that's what kind of ejects the leaf from the leaf scar. So as the leaves are still on the tree and dry, that's a bad thing, because then that stem is dead. She hasn't retreated the energy, and the petioles have stopped closing. So the fact that they're dropping is good, and the trees are probably just.
But there are some where the trees, like it's dead on the tree.
Yeah,
right?
You can see there's definitely. I have some in my neighborhood where the upper limbs have just been just gone.
And that's bad.
That's a bad thing because the leaves haven't dropped, so she's died there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of what's happening in my garden. Was my biggest concern is just the watering, and
for sure.
Disappointed that my hydrangeas aren't going to be as beautiful this year. But other than that, I know I need to kind of keep on top of it. The garden center.
I was going to say, segueing right into the garden center, we're doing the exact same thing. I mean, I myself was at the garden center in the nursery department I don't even work in for about 4 hours this afternoon. Just watering. Yeah, just baking and watering. And we're finding the same thing with our hydrangeas too. We can't even just keep the water to them enough. The leaves are burning, the flowers are going. The leaves are burning, as I say that, other things as well. But yeah, the same thing with the flowering. They're starting to dry, and some of the trees in the pots are starting to thin out and turning just a little early because of the stress. And, Yep. For sure.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the easy time at the nursery, right? Yeah. Where you're doing other things and you're not having to worry about the watering.
That's it.
Like you did in the summer, because in the summer when it's hot is when their staff is at highest peak too, right? And now those kids have gone back to school, and
skeleton crew.
So that's why the hard goods guy was out watering the nursery today. So definitely, it's challenging.
It is a challenge for sure. For sure. But something that we can definitely manage. We just have to keep up that diligence for sure. So other than that, nothing really too much more happening at the garden center. I mean, we're opening Christmas. My section, I get to take away all my hard goods every fall and replace it with, we call it the naked forest.
Right.
And it's just empty, everlasting Christmas trees, right? All the fake ones. And we've got racks and racks of Christmas in. So we get to have a little setup, and we have to be set up for the day after Thanksgiving.
Right. Thanksgiving, not Halloween?
Nope.
Thanksgiving.
We will be in full Christmas mode October 10th.
October 10th. Didn't it used to be November 1st?
Yep. It used to be way, way later.
Wow.
Yeah. So crazy.
Crazy.
Can you believe it's already
crazy? Yes.
It's less than.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So October in the garden. Maybe we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll get into all the do's and don'ts going into October, and what else we can do to get ready for our plants to get through the winter.
Sounds good.
So I am Matthew Dressing here with Joanne Shaw on Down the Garden Path on Reality Radio 101.
Are you wondering why your life isn't moving in the direction that you want it to? Do you ever hear yourself saying, "It's like I'm running into walls," or "My money flows out as quickly as it comes in"? Until about 9 years ago, I used to hear myself say those exact words. I could never figure out what was causing these problems or how to fix them. Well, that's until I started to learn about feng shui and how by applying the principles of it to my home or my office, I could in fact help fix those problems and have my life run smoother. Wow. When you book a feng shui consultation with us at Your Spiritual Connection, we will help you to figure out why things aren't working out in your favor, and we will offer simple solutions to help correct the problems, which will in turn help your life to run smoother.
Contact Trish John of Your Spiritual Connection at 905-391-8801 to book your feng shui consultation today. For more information on any of our upcoming events and workshops, please visit our website at www.yourspiritualconnection.ca. Your Spiritual Connection, helping you to make the connections in your life.
Looking for a quick, easy to apply, and all-natural fertilizer to use in your vegetable and flower gardens or for your fruit trees? Why not work with Mother Nature? Layer hen manure is a terrific fertilizer, and this is what Actisol does by transforming the manure from their egg farms into an efficient fertilizer. The manure is dried using a technology that harnesses the heat given off by the hens. No other heat source is needed. Actisol is easy to use, safe for the environment, children, and pets. You can purchase Actisol products at your local garden center or order in bulk. For more information, visit www.acti-sol.ca. Actisol, the mother hen fertilizer.
The following program will make you want to grow things and experience new and wonderful dreams about your plants, garden, and garden design. Listener participation is strongly advised. Welcome back to Down the Garden Path with your hosts Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing. To contact us by telephone in the Toronto GTA area of Southern Ontario, Canada, dial 905-725-1907. Toll free anywhere in North America, 1-866-905-7325. Worldwide, a special number just for you. Dial 1-866-656-5477. Send us an email right now, instudio101@gmail.com. And now, right back to your hosts of Down the Garden Path, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing.
Thank you, and welcome back to Down the Garden Path. Thank you for joining us on our October in the Garden episode, especially since it doesn't feel like October. But it's going to, apparently when it hits, it's going to hit hard and fast. I hear 15 degrees on Saturday, so we're going to go from 30 on Wednesday to 15 on Saturday. So we're going to feel like October by the weekend.
I think me and all of our plants are going to love it.
Yes. Yes, but there's lots of things. October can be quite a little busy month, can't it?
Yes,
in the garden, some stuff that we need to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like we were just saying, the watering. We want to make sure that we're keeping up on our watering. And
even if it cools down, we should still give, especially evergreen, cedars, newly planted trees, right?
Especially, yeah. Even though it is cooler and we may be watering less, they still are using water, right? We sweat less and we use less water, but we still need to drink our water, right? So the plants are pretty much the same. And then, evergreens. Pardon me. I kind of touched on it in a previous show, but evergreens, especially if they're newly planted, always at the garden center, I always recommend watering to the bottom of that hole you dug once a week, starting until the ground freezes, starting when the trees lose all their leaves and the perennials die back to the ground and they're just kind of barren. Because like you said just before the break, the evergreens are always doing their thing. They're always photosynthesizing. They're slowing down. But that wind, and we all forget that the wind is just as drying and desiccating as the sun can be. And so if they run out of water in the winter, that's where we all come out of spring, because evergreens like to show their damage in the next season, and suddenly, all the cedars on one side go brown.
Right.
And it's, they happened in February. They got burnt. So keep watering. Okay. For sure.
Excellent. And now's also the time when you're raking the leaves as they're falling. to look at adding, either scrunching up their healthy leaves, kind of composting those or shredding those, right? And putting them onto your garden.
Yeah.
The key is shredding. I know I did that one year where we didn't really shred them. So then they didn't really decompose.
Yeah.
But so that's important. And
For sure.
good way so saves time bagging them.
Yeah, exactly. And the leaves are so nutrient dense, right? You're basically throwing away the best fertilizer in the world, and it's free.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, And if you don't have one of those shredders, almost everyone, has a whippersnipper. Grab one of those big Rubbermaid garbage pails or something similar, or your recycling bin.
Right.
Throw a pile in there and lower the weed whacker into it. And it's like a little blender, and just move it around a bit. The recycle bin is just as strong.
Oh,
it
like
won't
a little
take
hand
any,
blender.
Yeah, and then just lock and load. Shred and spread.
That's a good idea.
Mm.
That's a good idea. And we should have said, because poor Elaine is breaking now,
Yeah.
and we should have. We'll go tell her to put it on the garden in the back. So
I think she's using a recycle bin too. So I think that's where I kind of.
No, she was. she was using the bags.
Did she? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I just saw the neighbors one then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So. And one of the things I'm anxious for is still to fall. I want it to cool down because I still have more planting to do. So if people are thinking that garden season and planting and purchasing plants is over, there's still plenty of time.
There's plenty of time.
I think it's a little hot. Normally this is a great time of year, September. But I'm planning, especially if it is going to be cool this weekend, I'm probably going to be doing quite a bit on the Sunday. So yes, in my own garden. So now is a good time, right? When it starts to get cooler, we can cut things back, divide them. You can cut back your hostas and divide, or dig them out, divide them, cut them back. Replace them. So that's a really good time of year to do that.
For sure. Yep.
I have a neighbor who they were given, or they bought when their granddaughter was born, a dappled willow standard, a tiny one.
Yep.
And, they were so excited, and they came home and they planted it. And then they said to me, is this going to be okay here? And I'm like, no, it's going to get too big. And so then they're like, okay, well, we'll move it when, and so now they want to move it this fall. So it's been there a couple of years. What do you think? What are their odds?
The willows are pretty tough creatures.
Yes.
If it was something else, and depending on how big it is, I might worry. But for a willow, if they take as big a root ball as they can, and some bone meal or something with a high middle number, fertilize it, the willow will probably do it.
It was a tiny one, so it's so the trunk down is probably up to here only.
Oh, okay.
Only about 3 feet, 3 feet off the ground. So it was so that's when they bought it, right? It was teeny tiny, but they didn't realize that the head of the right. So the head of it is taller than it is the stem, and it's not in almost enough sun, so it's kind of reaching. So it's kind of
it's kind of leaning to the one side.
That one side is bigger than the other.
Yeah.
And their daughter has since bought their own house, so they thought they would take the tree and take it to their place. So so I thought it was pretty good. I just said they're thinking of doing it Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm hoping that that's a good cooler weather.
Hopefully it's cooler. Yeah, and if they can wait to let the leaves drop too, they'll have less to really stress or worry about.
Good point. Yeah, for sure. So that's good to know.
Blaine writes in.
Yes, Matthew.
The weed whacker in the trash bin is genius. You're welcome. I'm glad that works for you. I can picture the immersion blender, idea now. Oh my goodness. People will be out there. You're stabbing this big Rubbermaid container. What's going on?
That would be good for a party making margaritas for 100 people.
Yeah. You have to get some really strong string, I think, there. but yeah, definitely. So glad. Thanks for listening, Blaine. Thank you. October when leaves have fallen. Okay, transplant. So I should wait until the leaves have. Yeah, if I want to transplant anything, but I can still plant stuff. Right?
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Because I know okay. Because we just planted in a garden on last Thursday and Friday in the heat, and I'm doing a garden tomorrow as well, doing a garden install. So it's we're still getting work done, which is great. It's great that this is making up for the time the guys lost at the beginning of the season.
Yes, it is. Yes. I thought that as well. And yeah, you're right. And in the garden center, I mean, there's plenty of, we're still ordering fresh stock in.
Excellent.
There's lots of fall spectacular perennials and shrubs, and there's great deals that are out to be had. So yeah, just keep going and then just making sure you're watering them. And yeah.
I just love how the plants in the fall just get the, hit the ground running in spring. You know, it's just so different than the plants we put in spring and that kind of struggle till June.
Yep.
You know, so I think that's great. And so some of we've got October stars, which are probably same as our September stars, right?
Yeah, there's no one really starting to do anything in October. Everyone notices the days are growing shorter and they're just kind of riding the wave. So yeah, so I mean, we talked about them last week. So, you know, your bugbanes, your sedum, your goldenrods, asters, toad lilies, butterfly bushes, hydrangeas, things like that. Now I guess we're really going to get into your fall colors. So
right.
Your viburnums, your burning bushes, your lace cap hydrangeas, those ones that nobody buys. You see the serratas?
Yeah.
The little flatheads. Yeah. They have wicked red fall color.
That is so funny,
and nobody wants them.
Or same like the green Japanese maples, right? The green, that when they're green and they're even the beautiful waterfall green Japanese maples. No, all summer they sit there. Nobody buys them until the fall when they turn orange.
Exactly.
And they look amazing. Then people are like, "Where did that come from?" You know. So I know when you're selling them, you have to prepare people. Now the leaves all year are green, but then this is what happens for sure.
Color.
And I have to give a shout out to my Japanese anemones. So I put a little video. Did you see the video on Instagram?
No.
The bees. So I got to get more of it. So I think I planted it last year. It really didn't do much last year, but this year it has really blooming a ton. And I have to say, the bees are literally fighting. They are going in. They're rolling around in the pollen. You can hear them. Like, I don't know if you can from the video, but I could hear them when you come out my front door. You could hear the sound of the bees. There, he's listening to the video.
I'm watching the video.
So that is how happy they are with the Japanese anemone. I mean, and they've been happy with my catmint and happy with my echinacea, but my echinacea is really dry. I think it's not happy with the weather, and I never really cut them, so they're all really drying. But they are just happy, and there are 4 or 5 on it at a time.
I was just gonna say, there's like 3 in this picture right now.
Yes. I couldn't get them all in the. Yeah, so it's really, so I would say that is a great, especially because I think the early spring and late fall are really times where the bees need, that extra boost, right?
Right. Yeah, they're getting ready to go, or they've just woken up out of hibernation.
Yeah, or they need to, don't they go into rest kind of thing in the fall, right? Mm-hmm. So that I think this is an important time to be feeding them. Absolutely, absolutely. So Japanese anemone, mine is a light pink. Matthew would know all the botanical names and all the varieties off the top of his tongue.
It looked like September Charm.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, September Charm is the pink one, and then there's a white one as well.
Mm-hmm.
So look for that at a garden center. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, we've got the white and the September Charm as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to plant some more of that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful plant. Even in the garden center, the aisles, I always worry about the safety because you walk down the main aisle and there's like 9 anemones on a bench and they're just covered in.
Yes, it's incredible. So the other thing that's popular right now at the garden center is bulbs.
Yes.
But... So what do you think? So now's a good time to buy them, but not necessarily to plant them yet.
Right, especially if you're a tulip lover. Tulips like to be planted a little later. It's still a little warm. We've got all of our bulb crates. Pardon me. We've got all of our bulb crates open, and the chipmunks are now coming out of the north, and will come out in the junipers, and there's just a single tulip bulb because they think they're hiding them. So they're still foraging and gathering things, but they're leaving all your daffs and the crocuses so you want to plant them late so that those foraging animals are thinking about other things and have got all their food and are doing other things. So your daffs, your crocuses, your fritillarias, the species tulips, even, they're going to leave those guys alone.
Okay.
But
I still think it's a little warm though, don't you think?
Yeah.
Or, just this year and dry. I mean, I'd like to see some rain.
Yeah, and tulips.
Because there's nothing. Because you have to water in the tulips, like with the bulbs.
Right.
You really should water them in, and there's nothing worse than like looking like you're just watering in dirt, and there's nothing there. So I don't know. I think just wait till we get some rain, and cools down. But definitely, I know our most popular varieties do sell out.
Sell out very quick. If you are an allium fan, get in there right now.
Yes, I need to do that.
And get your Globe Masters, those big ones. Yeah. Okay. For sure.
All right.
So, we've always got those super popular ones, the Canada ones, if you like it. If you're after those special Canada Forever.
Oh, are they still selling those?
Yep, they're still selling them.
Are they going to sell them every year now?
Possibly for the next few years, yeah.
Okay.
It's a nice solid red and white one.
Yes.
Yeah, and now they're selling a Canadian blend. So there's another one being the 150, and it's just like a red and a white together. Okay. But it's not the Canada one that we all got excited about last year. And if you're in the States, you're like, who cares? But
yes. Because I don't think they need to come up with a red, white, and blue one for the U.S.
Yeah.
But no, we still have the just red and white one. So it was red and white in one flower. And now when you say it's a blend, meaning one bulb might be red and one bulb might be white.
Right. It's a solid
you
white,
don't know you're
red.
planting them.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
You just kind of get that weird mix. So bulbs for sure. And then again, just remember if you're never sure about planting bulbs, bulbs are smart. They can detect gravity. So if you have a pointy tulip, the point is pointing up. That's up. But if it's more of a rounded bulb, if you see on the bottom, there's a little round circle. Or kind of like a semicircle,
like
or
the bottom
half
of an
circle.
onion, isn't it?
Right, kind of like the bottom of an onion, and it may be a little less distinguished. If we were at work, that would be me making that noise. Yes. But that is the basil plate, so that's where your roots grow, and that's why it's good to have your bone meal and some moist soil there, because they will activate in the fall. Okay, and send out some roots. But if you just plant that with it on its side, that circle on the side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It'll figure it out.
It'll figure itself out.
Oh, okay.
And it's another trick, too, if you have some early season and some late season tulips or bulbs that you want to grow, they're kind of a cool combo that you think, but either growing a little too far apart, is if you tip some of the early or the late, or the early ones, sorry, not the lates, because the late will be even later, but the earlier ones, upside down. Okay. It'll take a while for them to grow down and turn back around and then grow back up. So their timing will be closer to the later season.
That's
so
a lot of thought into
them together.
That's a lot of thought into the bulbs.
Yeah,
okay. But yay, for those keeners that are out there, that's excellent. So very interesting. It is kind of cool how Mother Nature,
she figures it all out.
She figures it out.
Yeah.
She figures it out for sure. And we have a question from Angela. Thank you very much. Oh, Angela, thank you. She says, hello to my favorite garden show. And she has a question for us. I have very little leaves that come into my yard in the fall. They come from neighbors' trees, but there are not a lot of them. My question is, can she just leave them on her lawn over the winter? Thank you for our professional advice.
Hey, Angela. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thanks for listening.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they're just little pockets here or there.
Especially if it's a small, I don't know if, Angela, if you can write in which type of leaf.
Right.
Yeah. But like for sure, like locust leaves, birch leaves, like a lot of them are so small, they really aren't going to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. You can definitely leave those. If you have like half of a Norway maple blowing into your yard.
Yes.
And they're big, clumpy, matty, and soggy, I would get those.
Yeah.
For sure.
But if it's just a little bit, and they're probably going to just blow and kind of disperse around your yard, for sure. So I think we've just saved you a lot of work, right, Angela? So I hope that's the case. So that's good because they are going to break down, and that is actually good for the grass too. Yeah. It's just not good if there's like a wet blanket. Oh, mostly birch. Excellent. Thank you. So I think that's perfectly fine, don't you?
Yeah. Growing up, we had a very, very large multi-stem paper birch. And I think we raked once or twice when it first started, but we always went to winter with it, leaves on the lawn and little pockets here and there, and nothing really ever happened to our lawn or our garden. So like you said, they break down. So
I think it's those big. I have the Crimson King big maple leaves that really, because even like I said, we blew them into the garden. We didn't compost, we didn't shred them. We just blew them whole into the gardens. Yeah, thinking that they would decompose over the winter, and they didn't. So I had to kind of like add mulch and kind of create this little thing, fluff them up in the spring. So. But definitely birch, anything small like that. Angela, yay, you don't have to, you can put the rake away. You don't have to buy bags. So that's great. That's great. Thank you very much for your question.
Thanks for listening. And yeah, great question. And just a follow up with leaves. I mean, we're always worried about, collecting them all and making sure that everything is just so before we go to winter. But don't forget or don't worry about leaving some leaves in little tidy little pockets under hedges or trapped in corners, because a lot of overwintering beneficial insects, like ladybugs, for example, I think that's the most popular one, they will hide in the leaves and they're going to go over the winter. So there's guys that are using that to get to the next year, right? So you're providing a nice house, and they're going to wake up in the spring and start to clean up and keep working for you.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Well, that is good to know.
So just a good thing, too.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I don't really advocate on the whole put the garden to bed mentality, like everything. I mean, leaves for sure. If they're big maple leaves, they have to be cleaned up. But for the most part, we just do make sure the weeds are gone. Make sure, I don't like looking at particularly the yellow mushy hostas, that type of thing. But pretty much, everything is good to be, it's all right. Somebody said to me, you put babies to bed, you leave the gardens alone.
Yeah, that's a good saying.
Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, when people give seminars or when I give seminars, and people are in the seminars.
Yes. Okay.
Other people. They're always worried, what do I cut back? What do I remove?
Yes.
What about these? What about that? And I always say to them, you know what? There aren't magical fairies that wake up every fall and travel through the woods, pruning back and cutting and making sure everything's just perfect. That doesn't happen in nature, right?
Right.
So when in doubt, don't. Mother Nature's been doing it for 3.4 billion years. She's got it. Don't worry about it.
She's got it figured out.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
So just, like you said, the aesthetic things, right? Like the mushy hostas or big thistles that you've neglected maybe, or, the big mat of leaves on the lawn. Get rid of those if it's going to hurt something.
Yes.
Or just look really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. Or if there's something that is diseased, you don't want to pass that. Like if your phlox, if you find that your peonies or your phlox, the foliage is gone mildewy, then definitely cut those, dispose of those, but don't leave them to spread that fungus, all winter long, that type of thing. But if everything's pretty healthy, like I said, my echinacеas are tall and they're drying now on the stem, and I'd love to leave them up, but some of them I might have to cut just because they're now falling over, right? So they're blocking the walkway. So there's some, certainly practical, if it's in the way or whatever. Definitely. But yeah, sure. I think the spring is really the time to kind of really start fresh and clean everything, cut everything back. And I think you see things, because I know in my own garden when I've cut back, or I've had a helper help me cut back, and they've cut something. Then in the spring, I thought it was a weed, because it doesn't, like, it's just the leaves, you don't know, and you pull it out or it falls out. Even coral bells, like they heave a bit from the ground and they look kind of like they're done, and you think, oh, okay, well this one's dead or whatever, but they're not. They'll come back. Yeah. So that's something to remember. To
keep in mind for sure.
Yeah. So really, so we can take it easy and enjoy our fall.
Yeah. Spring cleaning right now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So why don't we pause for one more commercial break?
Sounds good.
What do you think? And thank you for all these questions. Please send us some more if you have any. Thank you for listening to Down the Garden Path with Matthew and I. And we're on Reality Radio, and we'll be right back.
Are you wondering why your life isn't moving in the direction that you want it to? Do you ever hear yourself saying, it's like I'm running into walls, or my money flows out as quickly as it comes in? Until about 9 years ago, I used to hear myself say those exact words. I could never figure out what was causing these problems or how to fix them. Well, that's until I started to learn about feng shui and how by applying the principles of it to my home or my office, I could in fact help fix those problems and have my life run smoother. Wow. When you book a feng shui consultation with us at Your Spiritual Connection, we will help you to figure out why things aren't working out in your favor, and we will offer simple solutions to help correct the problems, which will in turn help your life to run smoother.
Contact Trish John of Your Spiritual Connection at 905-391-8888. 8801 to book your feng shui consultation today. For more information on any of our upcoming events and workshops, please visit our website at www.yourspiritualconnection.ca. Your Spiritual Connection, helping you to make the connections in your life.
Looking for a quick, easy to apply, and all-natural fertilizer to use in your vegetable and flower gardens or for your fruit trees? Why not work with Mother Nature? Layer hen manure is a terrific fertilizer, and this is what Actisol does by transforming the manure from their egg farms into an efficient fertilizer. The manure is dried using a technology that harnesses the heat given off by the hens. No other heat source is needed. Actisol is easy to use, safe for the environment, children, and pets. You can purchase Actisol products at your local garden center or order in bulk. For more information, visit www.acti-sol.ca. Actisol, the mother hen fertilizer.
Welcome back to Down the Garden Path with your hosts Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing, right here on Reality Radio 101. To send us an email us right now, instudio101@gmail.com. And now, right back to your hosts of Down the Garden Path, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing.
Welcome back, everyone, to Down the Garden Path, October in the Garden episode. Matthew, welcome back.
Well, thank you, Joanne. Welcome back. Welcome back, listeners.
Yeah, so we've talked about a lot of different things to start thinking about an October garden. But let's talk about our vegetable gardens. So we just said about not putting our flower gardens necessarily to bed, but are there some things that we should be doing with the vegetable garden as far as putting them to bed?
Yeah. One of the things that come to mind are just cover crops. So, I mean, we're coming and reaching our final harvest. One of the things you could do if you need to is sow some cover crops.
Really? No, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, but
can you tell I don't vegetable garden? Sorry,
I don't often either. But yeah, just a cover crop to like a clover or
okay,
right, something you're going to grow in and turn over later.
Okay,
to
so it's not a crop that you're going to eat. It's not. We're not planting.
No,
more.
It's a pure like a soil regeneration, revitalize the plot kind of thing.
Cool. And where would we get that clover?
I sell the clover at the garden center.
Okay,
and you can just do some white clover, and there are other cover crops that others enjoy.
Okay.
Some people just use soy. Some people use what was the one I just heard about it? It was interesting, and it was really rich in iron and magnesium. And I forget what it was.
Okay.
But
do you still have, because there's some, we can still sow some other vegetables, right? Can we not still sow spinach and?
For sure. There's some cold crops that you can still be selling. So,
okay.
Yeah, radishes, spinaches, lettuces.
Right. Do you still have seeds?
And we do have seeds, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and most of the selections you'll find now are everything that's appropriate for the fall. So
excellent. So the long, so the stuff from the spring isn't still sitting there.
Right. No,
okay.
No, it is all fresh stuff, and it's stuff you want to do now.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, cleaning up bad fruit and stuff that we're talking about, picking your fresh herbs, things like that, getting them ready to freeze if you're not bringing inside. And one that we get a lot of questions about is making sure that you're protecting your hardy trees and shrubs from mice and rabbit damage. It's that time where they're going to start to get close to trees and shrubs.
Oh, okay. Especially fruit trees, don't they?
Especially fruit trees.
Right.
Yep,
okay.
Nice,
so I was going to say you segued to trees really quickly, but you meant fruit trees.
But fruit trees,
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
fruit trees and fruit shrubs.
And that's by getting that plastic.
Right.
One of the ways.
One of the ways. There's also some products. One of them's called Scoot. It's kind of like a white milky liquid you mist on. Okay. And so as they come to nibble it, it's distasteful for them.
Okay.
So they'll abandon that shrub as a viable option.
All right.
Right.
Excellent. And freezing. So now, like, we could harvest like any oregano and mint and thyme that's growing, now's a good time to do that.
Yep. And just as you say, freezing, getting your sweet potatoes, depending on where you are, before we get a really heavy freezing or frost starts to set in.
I'm so intrigued about trying to grow sweet potatoes. That seems so intriguing. And did you get your second crop of potatoes?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
We did.
Okay.
And they were almost like the first, really. There were some bigger ones, but most of them were just smaller ones. I'm going to try because it's my first potatoes. I'm going to try overwintering some of them and just using them as some seed potatoes for next year and see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick I've planted garlic, and this year I didn't pick it in July. I left it in the ground.
Okay.
Thinking it would just get bigger.
Right.
Although, I'm just winging it on that in that sense. That it could be a mistake. But
it could be a mistake.
Yeah.
Because, you usually pick it at the end of August, right? And then cure it for 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
And then you're going to throw her back in the ground.
And I was busy.
Yeah, well, hey, why not? They're an experiment for sure.
That's for sure.
Right? Other bulbs and things. We haven't been, how long have we been picking garlic for, right? And how long has the garlic existed?
Yes, exactly. So I'm sure it's going to be fine.
I think she's probably going to be fine.
Excellent. But our tomato plant is still going crazy. Our cherry tomato plant is still going crazy, but it's almost too bushy. So I don't think we knew what to do to trim off some of the leaves because it's full of green tomatoes.
Right.
But I think the leaves are really shading because now the day's shorter too, right? The leaves are really shaded. So I think I've got to kind of get in there. But you can't walk around the pool like it is now.
It's so big. It is
so big. Yeah, it is. It is taking up the walkway. So it's been great. And we did get a harvest of about 1.5 pounds. We weighed them of jalapeno peppers. Oh. And we made something called candied jalapenos. I know. So so it's that you sweeten them. So you cook them in sugar and vinegar mixture, and then you jar them up. So because anybody who likes that sweet and spicy. So yes, candy. So I'm looking forward to that. So we're new to the whole canning thing. So I had one son who did the growing of the vegetable, and my other son he's the cook. Helped me. We made the batch of candied jalapenos. So so maybe I'll put that recipe on the website and the blog and let everybody know about or in the show notes maybe for this show. You can look for that.
When will the candied jalapenos be ready?
They say, she says you could do it. The recipe said you could, they think it's better to let them sit for 2 weeks at least for them to just really have that taste. But she said not everybody can wait that long, type of thing. So it'll be interesting.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So that was a fun experiment. So that's good for veggies. So your next thing on the list, I was asked this question and I was stumped. Someone asked me about why the grass was red.
Yeah.
He's a soccer player too, one of my neighbors, and he said the soccer field, he goes, why is there red? And I didn't take him seriously. And he goes, even in my backyard in spots, it's red. And so it's rust. Is it really rust?
It's rust.
It's rust.
We've got lawn rust.
And where did that come from? I don't remember hearing about lawn rust.
No, and it's something that can affect our lawns in the fall.
Okay.
Obviously now, and it's been propagated and brought on by all the rain that we've had in the early parts of up to mid-July.
Oh, okay.
Right, and then she kind of comes out and does her thing later in the fall. So
everything that does something bad, you always say it's a she. I don't know. I'm starting to notice a pattern. But anyway, yeah. So what? So are we spreading it when we're walking on it?
Yeah. So I don't know if your friend noticed. He was playing
he's
soccer.
Brought it from soccer home.
He could have, yes. Especially if you look at your shoes,
can't wait to tell
you
him
can
that.
get the rust on your shoes. Yeah, so it gets all dusty. And,
yes, he said it was on his shoes.
Yeah, and that's all spores. He's popped all the spore.
So now is he guaranteed to have that? Are we guaranteed to have that again next year?
No, if
not
it's more of a drier or moderate kind of wet thing, it usually will control itself, or you'll just get a touch of it, or none at all.
Okay.
At the garden center, we noticed it was seasoned because we have a little patch out back of just lawn in the west nursery area, or the area that's facing west. And we were out there looking at the trees and we were like, what's going on? And it was just all burning yellow and now it's orangey red kind of thing. Yeah.
So there's nothing we can need to do. Like there's nothing.
No. So really the only thing you want to do is put down, make sure you're fall fertilizing if you haven't already.
Okay.
and basically just keeping it well
Seems
fed.
like it was
and
too
cutting it
hot.
out.
Has anybody fertilized yet? Like it just seems. Are people coming in to fertilize?
Yeah, and
Okay.
you can put the fertilizer down. Just make sure that you do water it in within, I say, 48 hours. Really, it's just going
Okay.
to sit there until it does anything or until you get it wet.
Because it is a slow release.
Right, it's all
right.
slow release. Yeah, it's not going to be like a liquid, pure, concentrated
Right.
burn type thing. So it'll slow release and it'll slowly do its thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can put that down, and then just make sure you get your winter fertilizer down too. If this heat holds up, we'll be fertilizing in November.
Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to heat up or hold up, but
No.
but yes, definitely we're going to have probably a fall show in a few weeks about lawns, right? Because there's lots more to talk about.
Much more
that
to
whole-
talk about.
Much more to talk about. It don't have to do. You can do depending on the weather. Some of it can be done in October, or some of it can be done in the beginning of November.
Right.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
So definitely. Now you say corn. So corn gluten too. Can we do that now?
Yeah, you can, not right now, but
Okay.
closer to the end of the month. So just as she cools off and the winter makes
Okay.
those threats, you want to put it down. It'll start to dissolve, but corn gluten has a cumulative effect in the square footage that you put it down. So it'll combine. It won't totally wear away over the winter.
Okay.
And when you put it out early or late March, early April, it'll combine with the amount that you left in the fall.
Okay.
It won't have washed out of the soil yet.
So that's a good thing.
Right, so that's a good thing. So you'll have a stronger shield for those emergent seeds in the early spring.
Okay, I'm definitely. So I've got my list because we didn't. I know we're going to talk about lawns, but nematodes. It's not too late. It's not too hot.
Nope. It will be very hot or too hot if your lawn's really, really short.
Okay.
If you're keeping your lawn that 2 to 3 inches, and I always say 3-inch minimum, it seems long, but that 3 inches, the soil level and the grass will still be cool. Kind of like on a hot day when you go to the park,
Right.
and the grass is long, you put your hands in it, and
It's
it's
nice
not
and cool.
Right, so the grass will keep and regulate that. That's fine for the nematodes.
Okay.
As long as that soil
Because
is-
I'm afraid that what's going to happen is when the temperature's right for nematodes, or when people think the temperature's right for the nematodes, they're not going to be available, like
Right,
stock
yes.
wise. So if we buy them now, how long can they last in our fridge, or do we have to use them right away?
No, you can keep them in the fridge.
Okay.
You can use them right away as well, again at night or first thing in the morning,
Okay.
et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, they usually will have like a 3 to 4 month life
Oh,
cycle or
really?
like in the thing. So we'll get them
okay.
in. What was my last order? I probably like 3 weeks ago, and I think that the date on it is December 12th.
Oh, okay.
So they have enough food in there to last for a while, but
All
once
right.
they hit that, you cannot keep them till spring.
Right.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, you
definitely.
want
And
new
nor
ones.
can you really keep them till December. Like then that's too late.
No, by
Right?
then they're starving or they've run out of food. Some of them
Yes.
have probably died.
Yeah, definitely. So that's good. Okay. Well, that's good to know because yes, I'm trying to convince myself and a few neighbors to do it, but it's been just too hot the last 2 weekends, really.
It's just been brutal.
Yeah. So definitely on my list. So I need to come in for spinach seeds and
Yes.
and nematodes
And nematodes.
and corn gluten. So that's a good thing to know. Any other tips and tricks that now again, we're not in October yet, so we're trying to give everybody a plan and so that they know what to plan for October, right? So that's the idea of us doing our show a little bit early.
Yeah. I guess a couple miscellaneous little housekeeping things. Just remember if you have water features in your garden, you want to make sure that you drain them properly. That freeze-thaw cycle will start to damage them. If you're in a warmer climate and it never really freezes, you're probably perfectly fine if you're a little further south.
Okay.
So just, get them out, drain your fountains, drain your hoses and store your hoses. Make sure that all your irrigation lines are blown out, things like that. Get your snowblower serviced. It seems weird. It's September, right?
Yes.
But now is the
Or if
season.
yours died last year and you need a new one, now is the time to buy it,
Now
right?
is the time to go.
Not the day before a snowstorm.
No, it's coming. What?
Yeah.
No, be prepared. We'll go and grab her, make sure that she's serviced well and she's actually going to run. Seems weird, but you will be thankful.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's also a good time to house maintenance stuff, dealing with those ice issues like those low spots. gutters that where they're dripping maybe, and so it's causing ice below, or
Yes.
cleaning out the gutters just so that the winter rains and the fall rains and stuff really don't cause problems in your yard.
Exactly.
So those are things that now's the kind of time of year you can kind of evaluate that and take care of it easier than you can in the middle of a snowstorm or in the spring when there's so much to do.
Yeah, exactly. And and I've experienced that one too. You just have that one spot in the gutter where there's a blockage of leaves, and then this big ice pile.
Yes.
And then half your walkway's out of commission. And
Yeah.
It's so dangerous.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely. So, yeah. So I think that was a great show. We covered a lot. I hope our listeners enjoyed that. What do you think?
Hopefully they did. I think lots of useful information, hopefully, for them.
That's right. And we've got some exciting shows coming up.
We do.
We do. Also follow us, please, both on social media. So you can always visit downtoearth.ca, and all the my social media links are there. So Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew has got his up and running.
I've got yes, my Instagram. I finally joined. Joanne, you've been
Yes.
bugging me forever. So you can find me on Instagram at Natural Affinity Designs.
Okay.
You can follow me at Twitter at @nataffinity. And I will have my website, which I was hoping for before this show for this weekend. But
Okay.
it will be naturalaffinitydesigns.ca.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
great.
can follow my blog. I'm going to start there as well.
Yeah, perfect. And so our October show, we're going to talk a bit more about winterizing your garden, some of the other things too. So to think about, kind of more in depth, right, about what we talked about tonight.
In depth about protecting your plants, prepping them for the really hard freeze.
Yes,
And
yes.
what are some of these devices and nettings and burlap and staking and what's the
styrofoam
right
cones.
way?
Yeah.
Right, cones and what's this
yes.
wilt-proof thing?
Yes, all
Right.
the things that you're going to see they're trying to sell you. We're going to kind of tell you,
Right.
to help you steer around
Right.
those impulse purchases,
Exactly.
possibly.
Possibly, right.
Yes.
And like your snowblower, right? It's a thing that you're going to want to keep in mind for later because it's just
Right.
going to turn.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, that's
for sure.
October 2nd.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's October 2nd. And so thank you.
Thank you for another fantastic show.
You're welcome. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here down the garden path on Reality Radio 101. And we'll talk to you next week.
We'll see you next week.
See you
Thanks,
next
everyone.
week. Bye for now.
Bye. Or not bye because Gary's.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah. It's okay. We're not gone yet. This
We're
is
not
like
gone.
No, I've been listening. That's okay.
okay. We thought we'd let Lou start earlier,
Well, whenever you're ready, we're ready to hit the button as
Go
well.
ahead and hit the button. We already said goodbye.
So thanks again, everyone.
For joining us down the garden path here on Reality Radio 101.
Thank you for listening to Down the Garden Path with your hosts Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing, right here on Reality Radio 101.